How to get your wife to want you again. It's fair to say that your house isn't really a home anymore. There's a dead bedroom, and looking into her eyes silently, you're searching for softness that she used to have. The random compliments, the affection, the love. It seems so distant, doesn't it? You have awful thoughts at night thinking you may be a failure as a husband, leading a wasted life. Is there any way back? Can the woman you love ever restore her passion and respect and admiration for you? If you see clips online talking about this, you would completely lose hope. There is a way to get her to want you again, to love you fully and open up to you completely, to cherish each other and bring her back from the brink. You can get back the woman that you miss so much and turn that sadness and heaviness in your heart to reassurance, peace, and love. And that's what I'm going to teach you in today's video with 5 core proven principles. Now, I discovered these principles from looking within our community and seeing what core concepts the guys mention the most that has the biggest progress on their journey that I teach within our program. So I'm going to share those with you in depth so you can master them yourself. Okay, for this first concept, masculinity doesn't chase. You should have a clear understanding of what polarity is. I'll give you a video at the end of this to really highlight the importance of it. Polarity is something you'll never learn in a therapy session or a psychology book on relationships. It is the general idea that she will be in her feminine, which is wanting connection, which is seeking love, which is looking up to you, following you, if you are in your masculine. If you are the one that is chasing, is seeking, is putting connection with her above every other priority in your life, you are leaning into your feminine state, and therefore you are going to, by the law of polarity, activate her masculine. And that is why she's becoming avoidant. She has not always been an avoidant person. I know that you label her that way because most wives are avoidant in nature, but it is the context that is making her that way. When she was falling madly in love with you, was she wanting her space or was she wanting to be around you? Because you see, you were in your masculine state early on in the relationship, which is why you activated her feminine. And neediness and chasing is by definition seeking connection, putting you in your feminine state. So a lot of guys ask when they hear this, they say, Josh, well, what's the difference between pursuing her and chasing her? She knows you want to be with her. She knows that. She will come to you. If a woman really wants a man, she lets that person know, okay? And she can let you know she will come back. A lot of guys have this fear that if I give her this space, if I let her on her own, she'll get comfortable without me. She'll like a life more without me. That is never the case if you are being in your higher internal masculine state. I don't care how many women say they are happy by themselves. A woman is always happier when she's with a man who is in his apex self, who is confident, who is leading, who's supportive. As much as you, no matter what man in the world says that he's happier by himself than not a woman. No, if you are with a loving, supporting, caring, nurturing woman, your life is just better. We are better together. You must internalize your own value. Okay, we'll get to this as time goes on. You must fully understand that you have to stop chasing her. Stop randomly texting her out of the blue. Stop obsessively checking your phone. Don't look at her social media. Take some space, as hard as it is. That is the work in this first step. The second question you have to ask around this principle is, where's this all coming from? Why are you in this chasing, needy, internal state? It didn't start with her, okay? For myself, I'll share a really in-depth story about how I did this plant medicine literally a couple days ago. And I'll share the insight I had around seeing stuff with my mother, okay? And how that really impacted my relationships. And you'll be able to use it as a reference experience for your own relationship with your parents and how that affects you with your wife. When you are putting her as a complete source of your happiness, I know that you probably work out, you exercise, you have friends, you do all these things, but not as much as you used to. I want you to think back at one of the happiest years of your life, but your relationship might have been good because of these other things that are going on. Of course, they play off each other, but a lot of times what happens with men that I've seen is they've given up hobbies that they loved. They stopped hanging out with friends. They stopped making new friends. They stopped doing things that scare them. They stopped developing as a man. They're the same person as they were 10 years ago, okay? They haven't developed much because self-sufficiency is so damn attractive. Being able to take that space. A lot of people think that love is just this connection all the time. Like, oh, from having intimacy, from having connection, that is love. That is healthy relationship. The idea of that space apart and having that independence and autonomy, or differentiation as it's called in therapy, that is equally the other part of the equation of love, is being able to take that space from her. And if you've been over the years just so embedded and enmeshed into the routine with her, you and your wife, there is no sense of self anymore. This is why she wants to go find herself, okay? Because she's only wrapped up her identity in you as well. And so allow this space to occur. Now, this all ties into the paradox of wanting her but not needing her. I talk a lot about it on the channel, but essentially desire your wife. Let her know that you care about her. And if you have already, then let it sit. But really understand how you speak to her when you're feeling neediness, when you're feeling anxiety. Recognize that ability to take space when you have that emotion, which is going to lead into this next principle of emotional competence or emotional sovereignty. Emotional competence is simply another term for emotional intelligence, but the competence really ties into the idea of also acting congruently with the intelligence that you have, okay? Now, it's one of those things that I was having a conversation the other day about with a really good friend of mine, and I was talking about the curse of knowledge. With your career, if I had a conversation with what you did at work, you'd probably say terms and concepts that you would assume that I would know. That's common sense, okay? But for example, I'm pretty ignorant when it comes to cars. I'll admit it. And so if someone's talking to me about parts of an engine or parts of a car, and I'll go along and pretend that I know what it is, but I probably don't, right? So that same idea here with the curse of knowledge extends with me with emotional intelligence. We have a huge wins column in our Slack channel of just guys constantly getting wins every single day being posted into this channel of like all the marriages being saved, all the wins with their wife. And sometimes our coaches will post these sessions with the clients with their consent. And what will happen is the other day I saw one with one of our coaches, and he was having the client simply sit in his emotion to not run away from it. You see, the client wanted to intellectualize the emotion. He wanted to distract and change the subject. And our coach, Max, said, no, hey, let's just sit in this emotion for a second. Just allow it to be. Don't change it and tell yourself it's okay to have it. And the client sat there with Max for about only a minute and felt that emotion. And then peace washed over him. And he had a huge insight about something with his wife. And he was like, that's all you do? And it's like, yeah. You just sit with your emotion. Now, the reason this is so powerful and important with your wife in regards to getting her back is because most often what happens is that she's going to have her big emotions. And let's say, for example, that you grew up and you're a very optimistic person like myself, right? You're a very happy, cheerful person. And so whenever there is a negative emotion with someone else or with yourself, you completely neglect it. I don't want to experience that negative emotions, or I just don't like it. I just want to be positive. Why do people got to be negative? Okay. So because you judge those emotions in yourself, you're also judging them in other people. And so if your wife is complaining or being critical, instead of seeing it as there's valuable information here, or she needs my reassurance in this moment, or I'm just going to allow her to experience this stress, this negativity, and I'm going to be able to hold that space for her because I can hold it within myself, she starts to feel safe with you again. But a lot of guys, what happens is that when she brings these negative emotions out and you don't like negative emotions in yourself, you haven't experienced that emotional competence, the ability to sit through those emotions, you're going to reject it in others every single time. Not just with your wife, with your kids, with your boss, your coworkers, whoever it is. You see, when they can bring you those emotions and you can sit with them, let them process, let them move through the person, the exchange and the alchemy between you two, what happens is resolution. And because you guys experience that joint emotional connection together, it brings you closer together, even through the negative emotions. You see how this works? But a lot of guys, they'll intellectualize. I'll solve this problem for you. They'll dismiss it. Oh, it's not a big deal. Well, see from this perspective. Intention's good, yes, but paved to where? To hell, right? And so when you can actually have the idea or the understanding that when you are trying to help her work through that negativity, to be positive, you are dismissing her experience of life. You are dismissing her, and that's how she feels. And the fix is so simple. When she comes to you with that negative emotion, all you do is tell yourself, this is okay. Allow her to have this. Let her vent. Consistently, I see this is magic for so many men in our program who share every single day. My wife did all these things. I just sat there and I listened to her. I didn't say a word. I shook my head. I held that space for her, and she relaxed. And it was a huge win. You see, because when it comes to the idea of persuasion, or your ability to get her to see your frame of reality, to get her to see yourself how you want to be seen, to see the relationship how you see it, the marriage where it's going, the person who has more power is the one who reacts least. So for a lot of guys, if you're getting overwhelmed by her emotions, if you're getting reactive, defensive, angry, it's okay if you're doing this, but if you're crying and you're breaking down because she's sharing some difficult things with you, it's okay. It really is okay. But learn to sit in those emotions and allow yourself to experience them. And you'll cultivate this ability to have space with those emotions and be less reactive. And the one who's less reactive has more influence. The one who does not seek an outcome from the interaction or the relationship is the one who actually gets what they want. Now, one of the biggest questions we have around this emotional competence is a lot of guys say, well, how do I do this without seeming like an emotional robot or a stoic? There's no outright physical technique other than keeping your body open. Like if I'm talking with you, instead of kind of like, I'm like this, I'm closed off, right? I'm listening. Keep your body open. Breathe deeply within yourself. Don't think in your head of things to say, things to do. I want to respond this way. Just allow it to be. Use those pauses and allow yourself to feel whatever they're feeling without becoming overwhelmed by it, right? That's all it is. And then at the end of the day, just trust yourself to say the right thing, but you don't have to seek a specific response. And that genuine place of like, I actually care about what you're experiencing, it can't be faked. Now, when you do these two things alone, where you're stepping into your masculine, not chasing as much, you're holding that emotional space and being competent with your emotions, that's so much change right there already. So what she's going to naturally do is start to test you, okay? Now, before I go into the concept and principle of these tests, which I talk a lot about on this channel. There's a video at the end of this one that'll go even more into depth. I want to really elaborate on the idea of her dual mind narrative. The dual mind narrative is this idea that she has multiple parts of herself. Other modalities in therapy talk about like IFS therapy or positive intelligence, really expand on this with like 9 different selves. I want to keep it simple for you in that she has her protector. She has the voice in her head that says it's over, there's no hope, let's get a divorce. And then she has the part of her that still loves you, that wants you, that sends you notes of gratitude and how she loves her life with you. These seem so contrary, right? Because they do have different motives. You see, this one, it sees you as this villain, the person who has dismissed her, there's no hope of change, okay? And this one is just serving to protect her. And this other part of her, you could say it's her soul, truly wants you, truly wants to open up, all right? And tests are a tool of the protector self to make sure that you are the man who you say you are. And the only way that she can know this is by challenging you, okay? She can't know who you are. She can't know you exist without pressing up against you, right? She can't know you're strong unless she fights you. That's the only way she can figure this out. You see what I mean? You can show it in other ways, but if you haven't been showing it for years, that you're stable, you're consistent, you have integrity, you're a leader, she will test it. She has to. And it's the fastest way to get her to see that your changes are legitimate. And the biggest mistake so many guys make with tests is that they feel so defeated. They react to her frame. They say, oh, she says it's over, and they're going to listen to that part of her that is the protector, okay? And you have to understand, she's going to test you the most when you're actually changing, when she's having hope. If she was completely done with you, truly completely done, and there was no hope, she wouldn't test you. She'd be apathetic. She wouldn't challenge you. She wouldn't care anymore, okay? Her testing you is a good thing, and it builds so much attraction when you pass it the right way. Now, part of this passing is just not being reactive to her tests, like taking sincerely what she says, but not seriously. Let me use one example before we go to the next principle. One of the most common tests that a man will get in this program. Let's say your wife finds out that you're taking this program, right? You're in this man's program, becoming a better man, better husband, better father. And she says, is this what you really want? Do you think you're really going to change from this? You see, a man who doubts whether he can actually change, and he's actually in our program because he just wants his wife back, not to actually become a better man, he would falter. He would be uncertain. And then she would test him even harder and he would fail. But the other day I read this on our posts, right? This is why I'm bringing up that example, where a wife did that. He said, why are you in this program? Is it really helping you? And the guy simply said, yes, it is. It is for myself. I want to become a better man. I realize I messed up over the years, and I'm not doing this just for you. I'm doing this because I just want to be a better man for our children and every person that comes into contact with me. And his wife continued to test him, but he stayed strong in his frame because he knew what he was saying was genuine. And that's where the basis of actually tests come from. Again, there'll be practical examples at the end of this video, another tool, a resource for you to really understand tests and how to pass them with exact words. But just know, she is testing your frame, which means your ability to hold true to what you believe and what you see. And there is no proving that is going on with this. If you are simply true in what you are doing and what you are saying, then you're going to pass your test.
The fourth principle is the idea of letting go.
I don't mean let go of your wife. You're letting go of a lot of other things. Let's start with the outcome. You're letting go of the path in which you think your marriage will be saved. You're letting go of the marriage that you used to have. You're letting go of the man that you used to be. Now I'm going to stay on this for a second. What holds so many men back from change, which is what you need to get her back, right? Let's get straight to the core of it. You need to change. Yet your ego, your protector, and your dual mind narrative, yes, you have one, doesn't want you to change. It wants you to stay the same. So it draws up a narrative and an idea and a story and meaning behind what's going on with her, the way you see yourself, the marriage, everything that's preventing you from actually changing. You see, all your emotions are guided and designed to keep you the same, because that's what keeps you safe, not changing, right? Going towards fear, being humble, looking at parts of yourself that you didn't want to look at, it's not easy. And most men, you could see some guys in the comments who are just blaming their wife and saying it's hopeless, or blaming me for YouTube videos or whatever. As I've seen so many comments, I feel so sorry because they don't want to look at themselves in the mirror, but you do, right? You want to change, and you need to let go of who you were to become someone new. Now, when it comes to letting go of the outcome, there's this idea of falling in love with the process versus the outcome. You see so many men, they will, in their interactions with their wife, they just have this, imagine you just have these blinders on, okay? And you just see this end goal in your mind of just like this vision of like wanting your wife back with you, just whatever it is. Maybe she's in bed with you, maybe it's having sex, maybe she's in your arms, she's saying she loves you. You have this thing that you want. And when you are so hyper fixated and focused on this one outcome, you are blind not only to who you are hurting along the way, but you are blind to your own behaviors. You're blind to what your wife is really experiencing. And when you're in the moment with her, the way this looks is that you are in your head. You're not embodying yourself in the present moment. You're seeking an outcome. And she feels that pressure of like, he wants something from me right now. And you go through all these principles, you can connect them all to the central point, the idea that she wants to feel incredibly safe. And when you are forcing an outcome, you are using control. That does not create safety with her, you see? However, if you focus on your own individual transformation, if you set these goals for yourself and you wake up with a fire under your ass every single day saying, I want to become a better man, and I'm obsessive with becoming that better man, and that becomes your primary focus, she feels that. Let me share a powerful image quote that a guy in our program actually shared that I want to share with you guys. He says, how many times have you let go of you in order to hold on to someone who is the reason you are no longer you in the first place? Self-sabotage also comes in the form of holding on to what doesn't deserve to be kept, especially if it's to the detriment of your own peace. You see, when I read this, what I really think of is a lot of guys, they will should all over themselves, which is another form of self-control in your thoughts. My wife shouldn't be divorcing me. My wife should appreciate how hard I'm trying. My wife should give us another shot because of all the years of sacrifice. Should. When you say should so many times, how do you feel? Angry, frustrated. This is BS, right? And when you're talking to her, do you think that feeling comes across in the way you're speaking to her, even if you're displacing it and putting it aside? Of course it does, right? She's intuitive. You're fighting against the river of what's actually happening. You see what I mean? When you could flow into what's going on right now and say, you know what? In this present moment, she wants space or she's uncertain. Ask yourself, how much do I actually control that? How much do I control her? Now you can persuade her. You can influence her. But it all goes back to the idea that you are focusing on what you can control. You are letting go of trying to change her. You are giving her that unconditional acceptance. You are leading, right? You're not chasing. All of those are the things that influence her. It seems so counterintuitive because so much of your success in life, so much of the things that you've achieved came from this force, this control, this battle of will, this grit, this grind, this investment in trying harder. But with her, it really is the opposite. And once you can fully grasp this idea of like, all right, deep breath, I am letting go. I am done obsessing over trying to change her. I'm going to accept where she's at and I'm not going to try to force her to change. If she feels that from you genuinely, she will notice your changes the most from that perspective alone, okay? If I was going to share one more hidden gem that the guys don't really talk about because they experience it, that helps the most, is having other men, a community of other guys going through the same exact struggles as you and being able to share your experience and get feedback. That's what really autocorrects and this speeds up the process of this reconciliation, okay? Now, the best way to get that support is to set up a call with our team down below and see if you qualify for a chance to join our program. We don't accept every single call and we'll redirect you to this channel if we feel like you're not fully invested in your application. So make sure you're fully invested, okay? Thanks for watching the video. The video on tests is right here. There's a second video on tests right here as well. A lot of videos on tests. And once you master that, man, just building up that attraction, okay? Thanks for watching. Love you. See you in the next one.